I worked so hard to get where I am in life. I'm about to be a millionaire, and it's all because I climbed up the ladder rankings. I became best friends with my boss. I have a beautiful wife. My life is going great. Until I found out my wife is actually a dirty cheater, and the only reason I'm getting promotions at work is because she's sleeping with my boss. And it gets worse. I decide to expose them at work at one of the biggest party functions of the year, which has every worker, including the owner, who, get this, is a billionaire. This is insane.
Hi, my name's John, and I'm in the most stressful situation of all time. I've had a very simple life with a fulfilled career and love, but recently something's happened which does not let me sleep, and I think I'll lose it all by the end of the road. One of my friends suggested this so-called group to talk to someone, and I'm here posting. I'll try to cover my story from the beginning so that you can all help me figure out some solution. I was a single child to my parents and was lucky, as I grew up witnessing their pure love for each other. My father worked hard as an office clerk, and my mother did some work here and there, but nothing stable. But we were okay financially. We had our own home, which my mother got us as our inheritance, and that was pretty much it. I never lived lavishly, but the love I got from the top colleges in the country, and I vividly remember the day my scholarship letter arrived. They never made me feel poor either. I studied in a public school and was pretty brilliant, also. So after my schooling, I got a scholarship from my Master of Business, as my parents were so proud of me, and I was off to college when I was 18 years of age. So, I was living far away from them every day, and to be honest with you, I missed them. College was quite difficult for me emotionally, because there I realized what money can do. People had so much of it. There are certain unspoken rules in the world which we live in, which I never knew until college happened. You get into the best clubs, only if you're popular. You get popular only if you have a hot girlfriend or money, and you get a girlfriend only if you have a cool ride and money to buy her gifts. So basically, life came down to having money. And I did not have much except for the allowance my father used to send me for book supplies and emergencies. My education was fully sponsored and I never asked for more, but at a very early age I decided I wanted to be rich, so that my kids will not have to only love to spend but also a load of money. When you don't have distractions, you study. That's exactly what I did. I studied my butt off and landed pretty decent job in one of the biggest corporations as an entry-level executive. But the pay was higher than a regular entry-level job, and I was proud of myself to have made it that far. When I got my first paycheck, I bought tickets for my parents to come visit me in New York. That's where I live, by the way, and I did not have much money to show them around or buy them a fancy dinner. But I still asked them to come so they can see me, and my rented apartment, which I shared with one of my colleagues at my office. I was proud and wanted to see how good I did for myself for them. Life was going well. I got promoted within a year, and now I was a team leader. I managed to get myself a rented apartment where I could live alone, and life actually became great when I met my next-door neighbor, Sarah. She was the most beautiful girl I've ever laid my eyes on. When you have survived the longest without a girlfriend, you get scared to make the first move, and I was lucky, because one day she asked me if I would like to come over for coffee at her house, and I jumped with joy initially, and smiled from the outside saying, sure. That was the beginning of my and Sarah's love story, and we started dating in no time, and I proposed after I got one more promotion and I was heading my department. She said yes. Life was amazing. More than I could ask for, and we planned on our wedding for summer with close friends and family. Both our parents were present to give us blessings, and now, in just 4 years after college, I had an amazing, well-paying job. I lived in New York, and I had a wife. It was so surreal. For the next 2 years, I focused on my career as I wanted to start a family, and I wished to provide all the luxuries to my kids. My aim, it was to buy a house before Sarah and I decided to have children. Sarah supported my career and never complained about me not being able to give her the time the newlyweds deserve. Climbing the corporate ladder, I became friends with my boss. His name's Mike, and he's the CEO of our company. Mike has been really the guiding angle for my career, and he's not that old to be the CEO. So it's quite impressive that he's achieved at such a young age, and he might be in like his late 30s, and he too has a wife, Emily. 4 of us, became really good friends, and it helped me reach my goals even faster. Sarah, too, was a busy girl herself. She was trying to make it as a fashion designer and was gradually heading towards success. Both of us were busy in our lives and enjoying being married. We came home late at night every day, and both of us would wait for the other to have dinner together. I was closer to my goals and planned to communicate with Sarah about having children in the next 6 months. That night, when I went home, I was ready to have the talk, and quite excited, but to my disappointment, Sarah never showed up, and I was tired and fell asleep on the couch. The next morning when I woke up, she was still asleep in the bedroom. I left a text and went to the office. The next few days went by exactly the same. Sarah used to come home much later than I expected, and of course, I did not question her about her whereabouts because it was normal for us to work late and not see each other quite often. But the days seemed gloomy. Something did not feel right. And after a week of not seeing each other, I had to see for myself exactly what was happening. Of course, before going all detective, I tried to talk to her multiple times about her schedule, but she gave very vague answers, and so one day after office, I headed straight to her workplace only to find no one there. I called her from outside her office to ask her where she was, and when she picked up, there was music playing in the background, and she told me, "Hi, baby. I'll be late today. I'm sorry. Work's been crazy, and all of us are going to be stuck all night at the office." My heart sank at that moment, and my lips did not move, and I cut the call. Tears clouded my vision, and even though I could not see clearly, I understood everything. Sarah was having an affair, or that was the only reasonable explanation for all that was happening. I could not think clearly and went to a nearby bar just to have some me time. I lost count of the drinks after 4 pegs and passed on the bar floor. When the waiter woke me up at 3 a.m. in the night when they were closing, I walked myself home, and of course Sarah wasn't there. My head was spinning badly, and I somehow managed to fall asleep. I definitely woke up way past office hours. I heard some noise in the kitchen and went to find Sarah cooking. She was extremely casual, and that threw me off. Was I overthinking this? There's a possibility that they might be working somewhere else and not in the office. She passed a comment on my drinking and dozing off, and I smiled and said nothing. I asked her where she was last night because I wanted to discuss something important and take her out to dinner. My suspicion was confirmed when she again mentioned that she was at her office, all night, working. I had to find out why she was lying, but I was scared to know the truth. I called the office, letting them know I'm not coming, and my plan was to find some clues to understand what was going on in wife life. She left around 3 noon for work, and I stayed back saying I'm not feeling well. She kissed me goodbye on the forehead and promised to be back by 7. As soon as she left, I followed her after waiting for 5 minutes. She took out her car and went in the direction of her office. And to my shock, she actually went to her office. Nothing funny, nothing suspicious. I waited there in my car for the next half of an hour for something to happen, but nothing happened. Around 5 p.m., when I was about to give up and leave, I saw my boss's car pulling into the driveway. I ducked into my car because I did not want him to see me, basically creeping on my wife and missing work for no apparent reason. But rather than passing through me, he parked the car in my lane, and I saw Sarah coming out of the building. My body froze. My brain stopped working as I saw those two start kissing for an instant and disappeared into his car. My wife is having an affair with my boss. What do I do? Update. Number 1. Hey guys, so it's been a week since I found out about that man in my wife's life, and everything that was mundane for me has changed into the most difficult task. I want to share that all your responses to my situation has been very mixed, but the majority of all you suggested I confront her. And as much as I would like to, there's a major issue with this. You see, I've worked really hard to build myself strong financially, and I don't want to lose all that over my cheating wife. I don't understand why she has the need for another man. It's never been 2 years since we're married, and she's bored of us already? I'm having sleepless nights trying to find one good enough reason for my wife's actions, and so far I've literally found none. Except that she's just a horrible person and does not realize the magnitude of her actions. Also, she has zero clue that her husband has found out her dirty little secret, and my brain's dead, but few of you suggested taking Emily's help, and that's something I've been leaning my intentions onto. I think it's a good balance of saving my career and still exposing Mike and Sarah. I behaved exactly the same with Sarah, all week, so that she does not have a clue. Meanwhile, she's been discussing children and the house like nothing's wrong. It hurt from head to toe when she mentions children with me. I love her, and I would love to have kids with her. It took me less than 24 hours to accept that those dreams are dead. That my wife is manipulative and a very bad human. She sleeps with me and dreams about her future while going out with my boss and doing some stuff. I just needed to secure my position at the company before doing anything about the affair, and so I went to meet Emily. My meeting did not go as planned. We were familiar because of the formal dinner that we had, but I cannot say we were friends, and she welcomed me into our home. What happened later crushed all my hope. As I told Emily the truth about her husband and my wife, she went into a complete denial. She blamed me for having a dirty mentality and found my thoughts very offensive. I was not prepared for her reaction and simply could not do anything to make her understand the gravity of the situation at hand. She asked me in a very rude tone to leave her alone, and I obliged, but before I left, I asked her to not say anything to Mike and find out for herself before she alarms anybody. She just nodded and pointed towards the door. That was my cue and I left. 2 weeks go by, and I heard nothing from Emily. I was feeling absolutely restless. Meanwhile, these rendezvous that Mike and Sarah had continued. At least twice a week she used to stay awake all night, saying she had to work and could not come home. The fact that I knew all this was happening, I was helplessly triggering a wave of revenge and anger in me. My frustration turned into absolute rage. Now I wanted to humiliate both of them for pulling such a heinous act and pretending to love their spouses, and finally, after 2 weeks, I got a call from Emily, and she asked me to meet her, but this time not at home. We met at a cafe nearby her house, and she looked like she's been sick. I asked her if she was okay, and her eyes were deep and dark circles were hovering, and she started sobbing. I didn't know what to do, so I just let her cry it out, and I held her hand at the end of it. She gathered herself soon and took out her laptop. I was clueless because for sure I had no interest in seeing his naked husband or my wife with him. Emily showed me multiple photos of girls, all in their late 20s and mostly married. I could tell by the rings on their finger. So, what exactly am I looking at? All these are my husband's mysteries. My eyes dropped to the floor and you could see the nerves in my brain explode, and Emily hired a private detective to find out if my story was legit. She agreed that if she alarms her husband, there will never be a chance to know anything. But when she tried to find dirt on him and my wife, she found out about 5 other girls that this Mike was seeing. My heart breaks for her. I hate that I was the one that did this to her. Emily seems like an innocent heart and deeply loves Mike. I don't understand Mike's reasons for being a filthy dog. I looked at Emily with all the empathy that was left in me and asked her how I could help. What Emily told me next was equally as shocking. As his Casanova's husband dating 6 girls. Emily's full name was Emily Mcnelle. Emily's father owns the company I work for, and after Emily got married to Mike, her father gave the CEO position to Mike. So Mike was not the self-created young billionaire I thought he was. She promised me I would not lose my job, but I will be promoted if I help her humiliate Mike and get a divorce. I agreed instantly. I wanted a divorce too, but there was a lot at stake for the both of us. Neither of us wanted to give a penny to our spouses in the divorce, and we decided to meet next Monday at the same spot, and until then, figure out something that was decent of a revenge. As for the proof, we have plenty. The private investigator had collected proof of Sarah and Mike. By the time I reached home, it was 8 p.m., and to my surprise, Sarah was there. She had cooked a nice dinner and asked me to freshen up ASAP so we could have dinner while it was still hot. I was deeply disturbed by the meeting me and Emily just had. For the first time, I admitted out loud that I was going to divorce Sarah. As the shower ran, my tears flowed, and I love her, and I dreamt of my life together with her. Why was this happening to me? And her nonchalant behavior is making my heart ache, and my ego ache. I just wanted to go out there and, hit her with some hard facts. Show her the photos Emily gave me and ask her, what the duck is going on? But if I do so, both Mike and her will get prepared for what's coming, and our plan to humiliate them will not allow them to take a single penny will be ruined. Moreover, I could not do this to Emily. Now she's involved in my plan, and so I went out from my shower to the dining room and did the exact opposite. I talked, I laughed, and I had dinner with my cheating wife. Silly girl didn't even have a clue. Update number 2. Hello. For the last month, me and Emily are meeting every Monday to discuss our further plan of action. I've had so many responses supporting the step I'm about to take, and I feel grateful for this community, because sometimes it's hard to not lose track of yourself and feel like you're the worst human on this planet to be doing this to your wife. But the positive words you all have seem like you understand where I'm coming from. I don't want to waste my entire life's work on a person who is easily having an affair with my boss. Yesterday was Monday, and this was our last meeting before we had to execute the plan. Over the course of a month, me and Emily had gathered all the proof and track records of where they both go, how much time they spend together, and what they do. Half of the information was not easy to digest, but Mike's file was much thicker than Sarah's life, and I could see the embarrassment in Emily's eyes for her husband's infidelity. Why do women think that if your husband's an a-hole, it's somehow your fault? It's not. It's not. If anything, you should be relieved that you're leaving them, and it's the best that you can heal for yourself. We came to the decision that we wanted to expose them in front of everybody, and the best occasion to do so was at our office annual function, and it was coming up in a week. How ironic. I was up for Employee of the Year, and Emily was going to be there handing awards to the employees. That was going to be the moment when we exposed them in front of everybody, and Emily wanted her family to be present, and I just wanted Sarah to be humiliated enough to have played with my love and emotion. Finally, the day came, and we all gathered in the best 5-star venue in New York City, baby. My heart was thumping, and I was breathing restlessly. Sarah, Emily, Mike, and me, all 4 of us were under the same roof, and our lives were about to change. Forever. Emily was on a stage handing out the awards, and the quote, Best Employee of the Year award was going to be announced towards the end. I knew I was going to get the award, but my speech was going to change the company dynamics, and, to be honest with you, I was scared. As they announced my name for the award, I went up on stage, and Emily handed me the mic, along with the award, and, said it's showtime. The projector behind me went blackout, and the spotlight transferred to Sarah. Each and every person in the room turned towards her as I said these words. This award goes to my loving wife for always being by my side and letting me fly in my career very high. Thank you for being my bosses absolute favorite in showing your true colors early in our marriage." As soon as I said those words, the projector started playing decent but intimate pictures of Sarah and Mike. The audience gasped for air, and there were slow whispers all around the room. Half of the people looked at Mike and the other half looked at Sarah. Emily snatched the mic from my hand and said, "I will ruin you, Mike." Emily's father, Joshua Mcnelle, the founder and president of the company, he was here. And Emily looked at him with tears. He canceled the event and asked the guests to leave. The room became vacant, leaving 5 of us, only Silent presented. Mr. Mcnelle was so furious at Mike and starts to curse him with every word I've ever heard. He warned Mike to, ruin his life and career in no time. Mike looked like he had seen a ghost, and Sarah did not have the courage to even look at me. She was looking at her heels for the next 15 minutes until I left. I went straight to my house, and as I walked into my home, everything came rushing towards me. My complicated life, Sarah's infidelity, my dreams being shattered, and the risk I've taken that might, ruin my career. I cried my heart out and felt at the most lonely I've felt in my entire life. I was about to divorce my almost new bride. We had celebrated just 1 anniversary, and I was going to crush her reputation and all of my dreams in the court for the next few months. No matter how much pity I felt for myself, I could not find any excuse or sympathy for Sarah. I knew I was doing the right thing by filing for divorce, and I opened up a nice bottle of scotch, just to help me fall asleep. It was already 2 a.m. and my mind was cursing me to not sleep. I'm almost drunk typing right now, so I hope that I've covered all the crappy details about the most horrific day I have survived. Me and Emily, we've already filed for divorce, but the lawyers were waiting to submit the paper after the annual function. We wanted to make sure that both of our spouses' acts are out of the world and let them see everything, and did not want a silent divorce. Now it's done. The paperwork will go through in no time, and we will have to face each other in court. I'll try to keep you updated in the coming days. You guys are the only ones I've been able to narrate my story to, honestly. Update number 3. I know it's been quite a while since I've posted anything about this dramatic end of the story. I don't know, like 6 or 7 months. I've lost count of time. When you're extremely happy or drastically in pain, you don't remember time. It just passes. That's what happened to me. This is my last update because the story of me and Sarah is over. I'll tell you everything, but it's hard for me to even type this. I want to say thank you in advance to all of you who had so many kind words for me and for making me believe that I am not a bad human, just one who is hurt. So, after the annual function night, I drank myself to sleep, and when I woke up in the morning, Sarah was nowhere to be found. I did not even try to look for her or call her. When I was again in a human form to talk, I called Emily asking for an update about the divorce paper, and she informed me that both Mike and Sarah will get the papers in the next 2 days. I was ready to make Sarah look me in the eyes and see that she's hurt me and she caused this for nothing. The day came when we had our first hearing. The lawyers that were pleading our side of the case were set up by Mr. Mcnelle himself, so I had no doubt that we were in good hands. And, in any case, we had all the concrete proof needed to get separated from 2 cheating spouses. It was finally time I had to tell my parents what exactly was going on before they saw it on the news. Because, that's what happens when you get involved with a billionaire. When I called them, my mother started crying and feeling sorry for me. They never imagined Sarah doing something like this, but they supported my decision of going public and divorcing her, and in no time they flew to New York to support me. When we reached the courthouse, I realized Sarah was living with her parents and both of them were here with her. No matter how shameless, but parents are going to support their child, right? Fair enough. The proceedings began and our lawyers attacked everything about Mike and Sarah. Their career, their reputation, behavior, guts, you name it, and they were shamed. I felt bad for Sarah's parents to have to witness it, but it was her call to have them in the room, so this was all on her. Everything was on her. By the end of everything that our lawyers presented, there was absolutely nothing left for defense. It was pure guilt in the room. I was 100% sure that we were going to get the divorce granted. But Mr. Mcnelle had other plans. By his demand, the lawyers asked Mike to be removed from any position in the company and give him a bad character certificate, which will cause to be extra difficult to restart his career in this path. Both of them were stripped of any legal rights over finances of ours. Instead, they were asked to pay a certain amount as mental harassment charges and could not claim anything from our joint accounts or finances and, well, as our spouses. Mike even had tears in his eyes, and Sarah had a lot of guilt. We were all too young to have faced this, but in the end, we won. When we were driving home, I get a text from Sarah, a pleading sorry message, where she mentioned how guilty she is to have put me in this situation and that she will move out of town very soon. My parents were consoling me, and we were very upset to have talked about this any further. The case and its reality were all over the news channels with our pictures on the screen. The whole of New York City must have known what happened between all four of us. It was a sweet revenge I desired, and I know this was not the life I planned with my wife, but I truly believed what happened is exactly what she deserved. I got Mike's position as a manager exactly as promised by Sarah. And no, it was not easy walking back into that office, and my personal life was made a joke, but I will never ever compromise on my career. I still believe in love and loyalty and hope that someday I'll get the girl I deserve. I have no idea what happened to Mike, but I heard he left town too.
Wow, what a story. I can't believe OP's wife was so cold, callous, and calculated with her affair. I mean, how do you go to the OP's boss, do your business with him, then go home and talk about having babies with your OP? I mean, talk about someone that's off the rocker. Let me know your thoughts, though. The comment section was absolutely ripping apart Mike and Sarah. There were commenters that were even saying, I don't think that they even got enough revenge. They deserve something way worse than just getting fired and not being able to get alimony. I don't know, that seems pretty bad. I mean, Mike lost everything. He lost his wife, his house, he lost his boss, he lost his career that was paying him multi-millions to be the CEO. I mean, you name it, and he had it. But now he doesn't have anything. So, and you could say the similar things about Sarah. I mean, she lost everything as well. Maybe not such a high-paying career, but now she doesn't have a husband. So I want to know exactly what you guys thought about this story. Drop it down below, but the main question I want to ask you guys is this. If you were OP and you were in his shoes, would you go about this in the same direction? Or maybe perhaps one of these other commenters said, I would have took Mr. Mcnelle to the side and talked to him privately about this. I would not try to expose him in front of hundreds of people because think about this. OP could have done that, which he did, but how do we know that the billionaire was going to take this the right way? He could have just said, you know what, OP, you're causing too much drama by agreeing to do this. You're fired. I don't even know you. I don't want anything to do with you. I'll take care of my daughter who was just cheated on, but OP, you're fired. So yeah, it could have backfired on him pretty easily, but let me know what your thoughts are, what you would have done differently. Drop your comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Mr. Reddito. I animate stories and read them every single day. You can find my other channels down below in the description. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.